Hello, welcome to the first, possibly the last, depending on how this goes, video with a voiceover. This is something I'm really nervous about, and that was one of my main problems with the idea of doing this kind of video. But I really like watching this kind of video in my spare time. But I always enjoy it more when the person's talking and there's a voiceover talking about random stuff and the process. So I thought it would be more entertaining for my own videos to have a voiceover, even though it's definitely very intimidating. I do hate how my voice sounds on recording, but it's my summer break now. I've been at university, which is definitely a reason I haven't posted anything for like a year. But still, I have time now, and I thought I'll get back to doing stuff like this, just for fun. I haven't had a lot of time to draw lately, even in general, not even just outside of doing videos, because obviously I've been busy with university, doing art in university, and it is fun. It's difficult more than anything, and it's very time consuming. I don't know. I don't have a lot of time to draw my own stuff, and it does temporarily, of course, kind of suck out the fun sometimes of doing art. But I mean, I feel like I've learnt a lot. Maybe not of the things that, so to speak, matter to me. I've learnt a lot of new things, but I don't know if they're things I'll apply to my art, really. But still, it's fun to draw different stuff and learn different things, but I do really want to get back to drawing some of my own stuff and improving with my own stuff. I think since the last time I posted, I think that was February last year, something like that, and I haven't posted since. Obviously that's by this point over a year of improvement. Not that I've been able to draw as much as I wanted, but I mean, I'll show some examples of recent-ish drawings. I think it's kind of a big upgrade from anything I've posted here in the past. So I guess I definitely have learned some things. I've definitely learned things. I guess I shouldn't downplay that too much. It's just kind of weird. Improvement feels really slow sometimes, but really fast at other times. And I guess a lot of improvement sort of goes unnoticed until you look back on old things and you think, that looks much better than before. Obviously. But I forgot what I was gonna say. Okay. Also, I hope not only the audio sounds okay, it's probably a little weird. I've never done this before, but I also hope that the video quality is okay. I'm using my Samsung tablet for this. I usually use my graphics tablet connected to my computer, but I didn't do that this time, and I feel like for the first time my the lighting of the screen is not too bad. It's not too reflective or anything, so you can kind of see what's going on pretty well. I guess the thing that's annoying me about this, watching this back as I talk right now, is the colors look so different here to how they did on my screen when I was drawing. In the recording, that green background right there, looks really dull, but I was using like a pretty bright green, and when I first started putting the blush on, it looked really quite bright watching this back. And it's kind of like when I record my screen like this, it really sort of pushes like red tones, like warm colours, to be quite bright. But then when you do like cool colours like green and blue and stuff, it's like looks really dull. And it's watching this is kind of stressing me out, and then that it doesn't look like that. And also it was stressing me out while I was drawing it. Like I was looking over at my screen to make sure the recording was going okay, and you know that it wasn't like super reflective, or make sure you can see everything on screen. And I was like, why is the color so different? So I usually use a lot of like warm colors, and the colors on the display of like the recording were much warmer than they actually were. But I don't know. It looks okay on both, I guess. It's just not really the same. I don't really know if there's a way I can adjust it to make it the same. It's like, at this point, I kind of don't know which one is like the correct version of what the colours look like. That kind of stressed me out a little bit, not gonna lie. Before I did this, and what like inspired me to do this, was I was actually watching someone else's Draw With Me video, and in that video, she actually spoke about like the different colours being pushed more or less, like the red and like the green being more vibrant on the camera. And it's like the fact that I sat down to record and made the same discovery, I found that kind of funny. I don't know. I kind of skipped over the sketch phase because it wasn't very interesting, and also I cut like a big chunk of that out because I wasn't happy with how it was looking, so I started over, and then I realised, never mind, I hate it, so I went back to the original sketch. So that was kind of just a waste of time, and the original file of the recording was like 2 hours, because this took me 2 hours to draw. And I needed to cut this down, and I sped it up, and I don't know. That chunk of sketching just wasn't necessary, and didn't matter. But I left a little bit of sketching, and I left a little bit of colouring. When I use the fill tool, it doesn't really work too good because of the pencil I use. So I just do manual colouring most of the time. At least for like a small-ish portrait like this. And I decided I would do a small portrait for this because, I don't know, I need to get back into the swing of drawing, and if I start with something super big, I'll just stress myself out and I'll hate it, and I don't know, I won't be able to draw anything for, I don't know, a while, because I'll stress myself out and then I won't want to do it. So I thought, I'll just draw something simple. Not everything has to be some crazy big illustration. Sometimes you just want to draw a little portrait of your character. And boy have I missed drawing my characters. So that's one thing I'm very happy to be able to do again now that I am finished with this year of university. So I have time to do that now. For anybody who knows me and knows like some of my characters, you know that I draw this character all the time. I'm kind of biased towards her. Her name is Kamuri. You can see from like this point forward that I am doing the rendering, which is my favourite part, and that's why the rest of the video is basically just me rendering, because I don't find the sketch or the colouring or like some very simple shading very interesting. But this is my favourite part. This is where everything comes together, and by the end of it you look and you're like, that looks really different, and you don't really realise as you do it how different it looks until you like hide the layer it's on, kind of, and see like the underneath, and you look at it and you're like, okay, I don't know what happened then. And I don't really know when or how I learned to do this, but it makes my work look so much more finished, and I don't know, it's I just create a layer. I do actually usually like merge everything together so that I can liquefy. I forgot to do that for a while here, so that made it kind of awkward at one point because I was trying to liquefy and it just wasn't moving anything from the underneath. I don't even know if that makes sense, to be honest, but I always start with the eyes when I render. It's basically I clean up the lines, I add details, I add more shadows and color, and I don't know. If you know what rendering is, then you don't really need me to explain it to you. And me explaining it to you, I'd probably just make you more confused. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, the rest of the video is just me doing this. It doesn't really take me long to sketch and color, so this is always the longest part and it's always the most fun part. Although sometimes it is kind of stressful, but when you like get going, it's good. It's just, it kind of takes a while. Also, doing the eye here, this was kind of part where I also realized how different the colors were, because on the screen it looks really dark, but when I got started on doing like the lines around the eye, I was using quite a light brown. I was looking at the screen and I was like, why does it look like pitch black? You can see here the eye on the side looks a little strange. That is just part of the character design. She has like an abnormal pupil due to an injury. Just a cool fact, I guess. I don't know. Doing this, honestly, is making me realize I'm worse at speaking than I thought. I don't know. I mean, how many times have I said so far, or something along those lines? How do people talk this long? It's making me yawn. And now I don't know what to say. Also, I'm using, if you can't recognize it, Clip Studio Paint. It's my favorite drawing program. I've used quite a few in my time. This one, I don't know why this one's my favorite, it just is. Nothing else really feels the same to me, but I mean, the program you use doesn't really matter too much anyway. They're all kind of vaguely the same when it comes to features and tools and stuff. Obviously some of the tools are different, you get different like pens and stuff and brushes with each one. But I like a lot of the custom brushes made by other people on Clip Studio. I use SU Cream Pencil, is that what it says? I use this for like basically everything. I sketch with it, I color with it, I shade with it, I render with it. It's like the perfect pencil. It just does like everything I need it to. Apart from like, I don't know, I do use the airbrush occasionally and also like a hard round brush. I use both a few times in this, but mostly it's just been this nifty little pencil that I use all the time for everything. I feel like before I was the kind of person that was like always downloading more brushes and trying lots of different things and hoping it would make my art better, and the brush, it does not matter. It, you know, some of them feel different, look different, whatever, but no brush or pencil, anything, is gonna make you magically a better artist. However, when I started using this brush, it was like the need to like try brushes disappeared, because this one just works for everything I need to do. Or like, I don't know, I feel like I've mastered this brush, so to speak, because I don't need any others now. Although I do try some sometimes, but I always go back to this one lately. You can see on the screen currently, I'm doing the nose. The nose is the biggest sort of change from like before and after the rendering, because it's like a completely different style of nose. And this is also the hardest part. It turns out good in the end, trust me, but if you look at it right now, it's like, I was even thinking, sat drawing this, I was like, have I forgotten how to do this? It's just hard. I mean, you can see with that like line I've drawn there, I was changing the shape of the bridge. I did it like very like thick, just straight down, and I mean, some people's noses are like that. But I wanted it to kind of pinch in more at the top of the bridge. I don't know. I don't really know how much I ended up really fixing that, but I don't know. I think it looks better. In hindsight, I don't think I really changed the bridge that much like I thought I was, but this is another reason I feel like my traditional art, or like even just my unrendered art, looks so different to my like complete rendered art because of the way I always change the nose in this part of the drawing. So I don't know, I can't look at my other art the same now that I've started doing this. I feel like it always looks really different. I was thinking a few seconds ago, oh, this is coming together as watching this. Never mind, what am I doing with those nostrils? Adding that is always really hard. But it's really hard to do like the shape, the size. There's so many different things you gotta think about with the nose. And also, I wasn't using a reference. I've been drawing a lot of like K-pop idols lately, and doing that I have like a direct reference of the face and what different features look like. I don't have like face claims or anything or reference I use for my like original characters, so I didn't have anything to reference for this, so I don't really know. I mean, I've drawn this character multiple times. I don't know if this has ever been what her nose looks like. I feel like because I'm not using a reference, it looks different every time. I guess I need to figure that out. Maybe figure out her features a little bit better. But I don't know. I think it looks good though, like by the end. Okay, I think this is where it starts coming together, maybe. I think I was wrong before. This is the part where I sort of get there a little. But yeah, as you can see from like the process of the whole nose basically up till now, and I guess until I finish it, I very much struggle with trusting the process with it. Oh, this is the part where I was merging everything so that I could liquefy, because I had to liquefy that nose. But yeah, I very much lose faith in the middle of doing it, but I can't really think of a time where it hasn't worked out in the end, so I think I need to give myself a little bit of grace on that front. But I was kind of freaking out a little bit, like, why can't I get this to look good? I don't know. But I feel like rendering has really changed my art style, especially the way I render noses, and like this instead of like the relatively basic anime nose I had going on before in like the sketch, and that it looks so much different. That's I guess why my finished piece looks so different to my sketch, because I basically changed the entire nose somehow along the way. But I don't know if I can go back to drawing noses the way I did before, or like leaving them unrendered. I don't know, it adds a lot of character to the face, which is why from an artistic standpoint it's one of my favourite features of the human face in general, because there's so many different ways that a nose can be, you know, it can be big or small, it can, you know, jut out in different places. I mean, I don't need to explain how a nose works, but yeah, they can look very different, and I find that very fun when it comes to drawing, but it is also kind of difficult, so I don't know. Also, I'm talking about how different like faces can look, and noses and all this. I feel like I kind of gave her a pretty basic face, and you know, she doesn't really have like any super unique features. She's still pretty, but you know what I mean. I don't know. I need to perhaps be a little more diverse with the way I draw certain features, maybe. But I don't know. That's just how this character looks, I guess. But I do think she turned out looking quite nice. I'm actually looking at this now. I like considered the face finished. I actually forgot that she's meant to have freckles, and I just did not put them on there. I guess I was too focused on rendering the nose that I just forgot about literally everything else. But another thing, a difference between like the sketch and like the render is, I think you'll see it soon when I like start playing with turning the layer on and off. But her face ended up, it was a lot like slimmer in the is this what I'm about to do it? No, okay. Never mind. Oh, wait. No, it's not. Okay. I don't know. It will turn up. But as I was saying, the face ended up a lot more like plump, I guess, to how it looked before I started rendering. And at first I was like, I guess I should try and slim that down. But I guess I realized that it kind of fits more for like the era of like this character that I'm drawing. Usually I draw this character with one of her eyes covered, and she's a bit younger, I guess. I guess she'll probably be a bit older here, and based on like the story and like her probably financial status, I would say at this point she probably would have a fuller face, because she'd take better care of herself. Okay, this is where I show it. Yeah, the face shape changed quite a lot somehow. I think it looks much better this way, to be honest. So, and this is where I start on the hair. In hindsight, this kind of stresses me out. I guess I was being very chill and turning my brain off while I drew this, but it's kind of making me realize I did not pay attention to where the shadows would go. So I feel like it's on the hair especially, it looks very random. But also I find it very hard to like color blonde hair, because I feel like it's either too orange or it's too like grey and ashy. And it's kind of hard to pick which one you're doing, but I guess I prefer this kind of brassier colour. I don't know, maybe at this point in her life she has more life to her hair. So I guess it doesn't really matter. I don't know. Maybe I can pretend that it makes a ton of sense for it to have turned out like this. But yeah, I was gonna say I struggled with this, but maybe I didn't. I don't think I did. I feel like the face was the hard part. The face is always the part that takes the most time, to be honest. And then I kind of breeze through everything else. Like, it doesn't really take me that long to do the hair. I didn't really pay attention to the clothes. I do need to get better at both drawing and like rendering clothes, like, more accurately. I need to think more about like what material it should be and have that affect how I shade it. And also the thickness of the material changes the creases. Like, I guess if you're wearing like something thick, like a jumper, it would have like big thick folds, whereas you would have like smaller, thinner creases if it was like a thinner material. And I know this, and I always forget to actually think about it when I'm drawing. When I end up drawing, it just ends up being like, I don't know, she has clothes on. And I don't really end up putting too much thought into it. So I need to put more thought into that. But yeah, I don't know. I just really like doing faces. I always focus on faces. But I guess it's fine if the other things are a little bit flat in comparison. I do need to improve, but I mean, it's not the end of the world, you know? I feel like part of why I've improved with hair is kind of not focusing on like every single strand. I kind of just do chunks and leave it at that. And I add like some shadows and some light, but like I kind of add that to the chunk. I don't do like every single strand. But I do some like loose strands. I usually do more than I did on this, but I guess I was keeping it kind of simple. I don't know. But I feel like it looks better sometimes to keep the hair more kind of simple. Or, I don't know. I guess for like my skill level maybe, and based on what I'm good at, it's kind of better for me at least to do like simple hair. Because, I don't know. I guess I'm not super good at doing like tons and tons and tons and tons of strands of hair and making it look like it wasn't scribbled on, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of losing the plot with what I'm talking about at this point. It's hard to talk for this long. I'm not used to doing such a thing. But I can't say I'm not kind of having fun, so... Oh, this is why I fixed the collarbones. When I did the sketch and like the colouring, I kind of didn't realise that I literally had the collarbones peeking right through the fabric. And unless it's like a really thin fabric, that wouldn't happen. Like, no matter how visible your collarbones are, I guess. So I kind of got rid of that. I added some stripes to the shirt, because I thought it looked cooler, I guess. And I had a lot of like sketch to clean up around the shirt area. So I did that. I probably could have done a better job. When I get to this point, like as soon as the face is finished, my brain sort of clocks out a little bit, and I definitely start adding less detail because I can kind of only focus on things that I'm like really interested in, and as soon as I'm not really that interested, I can't focus, and I don't know. So I guess that's why I don't really put as much effort into the clothes, but I don't know. I think it looks relatively well balanced with where the rest of the detail is. Like, I don't know. If I made the clothes super, super detailed, I feel like it would look a little strange with the detail level of everything else. So I think having a good focal point, such as the face, is fine. Oh, I added jewellery. I thought that would be fun. And it adds something, I guess. Because I felt like when I went into this, I didn't know what the outfit would be. I was kind of like, I'm gonna draw her, and I don't know. I didn't think about the clothes. So I was like, oh, I'll just do a t-shirt with like sleeves underneath. And it looks kind of boring, so I added a necklace, which I didn't put much effort into rendering either. Some earrings. This industrial piercing, which doesn't look very good the way I drew it. But I pretend I don't see it. I don't know. I'll get better at drawing such things, but for now, I'm ignoring it. I don't know. But yeah, I thought maybe at this point in her life she would have some piercings. I added some highlights to the eyes, I guess. I feel like they looked okay before, but I don't know, adds a little bit of more detail. What was I doing at this point? I was just adding more shadows. And like, oh yeah, like touches of like blue in the shadows. Because I always find that looks better. Like if the lighting is warm, the shadows will be cool toned, I guess. I guess in the end I started adding like makeup, I guess. I kind of forgot that I did that, but it looks better that I did do that. I'm definitely running out of things to talk about here. I'm just kind of watching the video. Oh, I added a star. When I was like doing the transform tool, I do this a lot, where I adjusted it and then I pressed cancel instead of okay, so I had to do it again. It's so annoying. Also, I kept doing this wrong in the video, but I would just like make the canvas really small and kind of put it on the right side, and it's like you can't really see what I'm doing probably. And then I started working on the background here, I guess. But yeah, I need to keep the view of the screen good. I don't know why. I guess maybe because the camera was kind of in the way. Not really, but I kept moving my canvas to the right side of the screen a little bit small, and it just left gaps where you can see reflections of the light. I need to focus on next time making that a little bit better. I don't know. There's not really much to talk about with the background. It's just very simple stuff, I guess. I added some sparkles and did a gradient map on an overlay layer to make the colours nicer. That's my trick, that's my secret. Because I get a few compliments on how my colours look usually. And it usually is just because I use a gradient map over everything. I might add a bit of blur. And you can see I do my watermark, and I learned this trick on TikTok. I can't really say I executed it very well at first. You can see I kind of fumbled because I forgot what kind of layer mode it was that you're meant to do this on. But if you draw it in white and then in black and put the black on top and put them both on a soft white layer, and then move the top one slightly, and makes like a little stamp looking thing like that. So that's basically everything. Thanks for watching me draw and listening to me talk about all sorts of stuff, I guess, relevant or not. And now I'll just leave you with the little time lapse and a picture at the end of how it looks when I finished it. Oh, also follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Same username as here, Lactose Lizard.